Bună ziua București și bună ziua România! Și bună ziua mama! Okay, everybody, so let's get started. My talk is the election system. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Solutions to improve the election system with yours truly, be a Scilab. So, who am I? I am a 12-year-old girl. I was the youngest speaker at HOPE, Hackers on Planet Earth, which is one of the oldest hacker conferences. I am now a 3-time speaker at DefCon. I spoke at the Voting Village, the Biohacking Village, and the Roots Asylum. I am a maker and a hacker, and my election hacking from the Roots Asylum was highlighted at a congressional hearing on election security. Here is me with the witness panel. While this talk will be focused on the US election system, the lessons learned here can apply to any election system worldwide. So what did the Roots Asylum do? They held a mock election reporting system, and us kids got to perform SQL injection to change the results. What is SQL injection, you may ask? Here is part of my Girls Who Hack course on SQL injection. Dun, 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 dun. The application, in this case a web form, that talks to the database is tricked into sending an attack query. So here is the classic username and password field. Now here is a simple attack, or 1 = 1 is true. So this is the code. SQL = select from users, where name = uname and pass = upass. So it's requesting a username and a password. And let's say Alice wants to attack this website because, I mean, why not? So she puts in Alice, double quote, or 1 = 1 in the username field, and then Alice pass, or double quote, or 1 = 1 in the pass field. So then this command in orange gets sent to the database. Select from users where name equals uname, where uname equals Alice, or 1 = 1, and pass equals Alice pass, or 1 = 1. Does 1 = 1? Yes, okay, good. You passed the test. You all graduated from preschool. Yay! Gold star stickers for everyone. Then the SQL above is valid and will return all rows from the user and pass table, since or 1 = 1 is always true. Back to my talk. SQL injection, like I said. The kids and I in the Roots Asylum did this attack last year and this year. You're thinking, big deal. It was rigged for the kids. But Russia used the same SQL injection attack and successfully broke into a state board of elections website where they gained access to the voter records and exfiltrated them. They were then able to pivot into the network, and who knows what happened after that. This is outlined in Volume 1 on pages 50 and 51 of the Mueller report, if you don't believe me. Now let's start with the election system. The election system has a huge attack surface, over 10,000 voting precincts, voter registration databases, voting machines, reporting systems, and of course, election officials. As Dr. Latanya Sweeney said at the hearing on voting technology vulnerabilities, every step introduces a vulnerability. And I agree with you. And let me just say, there are problems everywhere. Most states lack the resources and technical expertise. And let's face it, they are election officials, not computer security experts. If not, we wouldn't be in this situation. They have aging equipment. Many of the voting machines that have been pawned at the voting village at DEF CON are still in use in many districts. They have a lack of consistent funding for security. A lot of the voting security money comes in a lump sum. Fixes problems now, but not in the future. States need consistent voting security budgets. Attacks by foreign adversaries with endless time and money versus the underfunded state and local election websites where Steve and Frank have to secure them along with all the other sites and help Bob print out his emails. Who do you think will win in that situation? Then NIST's election security research team consists of 1 full-time, 4 part-time, and 4 contractors. There are more people working at a single McDonald's than they are working on election security people. Like, really? So let's jump into more problems and how to solve them. This is me at the Pennsylvania Voting Machine Review, where we were allowed to examine the machines all we wanted. I drove them crazy. This simple-to-pick lock covers the USB ports that contain the votes and the software update port. So, wow. I mean, look at that. Now, for all of you wondering how the US election system works, here's a brief overview. Step number 1, voters must register to vote. It's not automatic because that would actually make sense. We want to make the election system as complicated as we can, right? Then you cast your vote. It's done at your local voting precinct, not the one by your work. It has to be by your house. So you got to wake up early, go vote, and then go to work. And yes, it is not a national holiday. It's still a work day. Then the voter's identity is verified, and then your vote is cast. The voting machines differ from precinct to precinct. Then, the votes are tabulated at a local, then state level. In the presidential election, the Electoral College decides the president. This keeps the larger states from having too much power and is generally based on the state's popular vote. The Electoral College can be a talk in itself, but I'm just keeping it short for you guys. Okay, so here are a stack of voting machines at the voting village. Ta-da! At DefCon. I'm pretty sure this was actually the first voting village at DefCon too. Now, voter registration systems. They differ from state to state. Some have standalone systems while others tie in with their Department of Motor Vehicles driver's registration system. Everyone, including bad guys, nation states, and groups trying to upset democracy, is trying to hack these systems all the time. If you monitor an intrusion detection system, which is a machine that examines all the network traffic, you will see constant attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other exploits from all over the world, including Russia, China, as well as Tor exit nodes. Okay, now there's something really important that I want you all to listen. If you're on your phones, pay attention, don't pick your nose, and listen to this. The scary thing is, election officials are not required to report any detected compromises or vulnerabilities in these systems. If the election was hacked, we wouldn't know. Maybe they know, but they don't have to tell us. So, yikes! Oh no! How do we fix this? Well, voter registration systems are things we actually know how to secure. Website and database security is something we know and have security standards for. So let's use some guidelines. Number 1, there is OWASP. OWASP, or the Open Web Application Security Project. They have tons of resources, too many to list here. The NIST cybersecurity framework provides a way to identify, protect, and detect any compromises. Then there is OpenSCAP, or Security Content Automation Protocol, that supports automated configuration, vulnerability, patch checking, and security measurement. Then, my personal favorite, the SAFE Act, which is still currently sitting in Congress, but I hope I really hope it becomes a thing. So here's more on the SAFE Act. The SAFE Act requires many important things, including voter-verified paper ballots. These are important because the voter actually verifies their vote. And then there is an analog paper trail, so you can check with a physical piece of paper. There are risk-limiting audits. That's where votes are counted by humans to make sure the machines are accurate. And using risk-limiting audits and voter-verified paper ballots are best defense against election tampering. Then, you've built your reporting system. Now what? Test it. First, make sure it actually works, because that's kind of important. Then have your team test it. Make sure you cover the basics like the OWASP Top 10, and fix the bugs. Don't waste your budget on having professionals come in just to tell you what you could have found out by yourself. Next step, test it with hackers. Make sure it is fully tested before you bring in an external pen testing team. They will find things that you never thought of. If you're thinking that the systems out there are secure, well, let me tell you, they are not. Hackers have found SQL injection working on a state site just recently, like 2 weeks ago. States need to have a bug bounty, or at very least, a clear channel for reporting vulnerabilities. You've registered to vote. Now what? Hacking the voting machines! Oh wait, sorry, just the voting machines themselves. Voting machines. You would think the US would have a thriving voting machine industry. Unfortunately, this is not true. If you want to make a voting machine, you need to make the entire system. Everything from the voter registration system, the voting machine, then the tabulator and reporting system. This is why 80% of the US voting machines are made by 2 manufacturers, ES&S and Dominion. ES&S bought Global Election Systems, which became Diebold. Ugh, they're so insecure, as you'll see soon. ES&S senior programmer and VP was convicted of computer software tampering and embezzlement. In 2004, they performed an emergency software patch in 37 swing states. These are key states that could swing the election one way or the other. I wonder why they only did it in the swing states. Something's fishy there. Then Georgia and Tennessee have reported machines losing votes in predominantly African American neighborhoods. Now that just doesn't sound right. These manufacturers keep their source closed and will threaten to sue people if they try to examine their software. The Diebold GEMS tabulator was found lowering vote counts. It's not that hard, people. Vote gets vote +1, or for my C fans out there, vote ++. Many machines and tabulators have hidden back doors that allow votes to be manipulated during the election. Now, let's talk about direct recording systems. Ugh. Direct recording systems are voting machines that do not produce a human-readable paper trail. These machines cannot not be made secure. So please follow my advice and don't use them. As was proven every year at DEF CON Voting Village, the vote count can be undetectably manipulated. These types of machines are used in many countries around the world, including Brazil. Who wants to guess who made the machines in Brazil? Diebold! Yay! Not really. You know what I would trust more than a direct recording system? Yeah. Now, paper ballots. Another way to collect votes is with paper ballots. There are 2 types. Number 1, hand-marked paper ballots. This is the best, most secure option. These are marked by the voter themselves, then scanned with an electronic scanner or counted by hand. Then ballot marking devices. These were originally made for the handicapped voters. But with demand for paper ballots, the voting machine manufacturers saw an opportunity to sell more expensive BMDs as paper ballots. There are a few problems with these machines. If the machine flips your vote, what do? Was it a human error or a machine error? Some machines print a barcode as a paper trail. How do you know what it says? Fat bar, skinny bar, fat bar, skinny bar? This just in. BMDs suck. Some new machines take up to 10 minutes to switch screens while voting. 10 minutes. If there's a long line, you just want to jump right out. Texas machines unable to read RFID voter card, causing massive delays. Again, people want to get out of line and go to work. Brand new ES&S machines reporting 0 Democrat votes on printout. But then once they do a hand count, it reveals that Democrats won. This just in. DREs suck. Virginia changed to hand-marked paper ballots, and the Democrats won for the first time in 20 years. Something's wrong there, too. So now, let's hack a voting machine! Woo! The AccuVote is a direct recording system. Some of them have a printer so that the voter can verify their vote. Some don't. In 2007, 1 year after I was born, the source code was reviewed by state of California, and they found it was susceptible to viruses that could alter the vote count. My friends over at the Hacker House were able to load their own firmware into the machine and could do this. Hacker House 2020, election fixing software hack toy. Injecting new United States presidency, DC. Loading operating system. Rigging election. They were also able to do this. And what does every hardware hacker ask? Can you play Doom on it? Yes, yes you can. Now, I have a question for all of you. Where are your voting machines stored right meow? Well, if you live in the US, where are your voting machines right now? See, you don't know. How well they are stored in cold storage? So how well are they secured while in cold storage? Hey, Bob, where are the spare traffic cones? Oh, you know, by the voting machines where I eat my lunch. And get this, they protected it with one thing no one can get past. Caution tape. Everybody, there's caution tape. Back away. Back to cold storage. Bad actors can purchase machines off the internet, reverse the software and the firmware, then install the hacked software and firmware on machines in cold storage. While these machines may have tamper-evident seals, they really are not that tamper-evident. Here is me at DEFCON 25, removing tamper-evident tape with acetone. That's also known as fingernail polish for all of you out there. I was then able to reapply with no noticeable difference. All you need is a syringe, some nail polish remover, get a little in the syringe, and a little at a time on the seal, you squirt a little, it comes out, it's still sticky. You manipulate the voting machine in the box, then you tape it back again, and you go eat lunch. Boom. So what can we do to secure voting machines in cold storage? Well, we can invest in more secure storage, monitored security systems and cameras, complex locks, and booby traps! Okay, maybe not booby traps. Wink. Another way to help secure voting machines is to reinstall the software and firmware before the election. making sure to check software fingerprints and checksums before installing. Doing this will not only ensure the latest patch software is running, it will also wipe out any malicious code that may have been installed. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Woo woo! So where does your vote go next? Different election systems have different ways of delivering the final vote count. Votes are printed out in triplicate, checked and signed by poll workers. These are then phoned in and sent by car to the election office. USB sticks by car. Is that data file encrypted? If not, it can be manipulated. Some machines report their counts by cellular data transmission. This still goes over the public internet, but we all know how secure the internet is, right? Yeah. It is also worth stating that there is no established chain of custody rules for any of these delivery methods. So how do you secure it in transit? Well, you encrypt the records while being transmitted and while at rest. You perform risk-limiting audits to make sure the paper ballots match what the machine recorded. And please, do not use the public internet. The machine manufacturers want you to think that the cellular modems are not connected to the public internet. Guess what? They are. Here is a diagram the manufacturers could learn from. This is me. That's the voting machine over there on the left, transmitting over the air with its cellular modem to the cell tower. That's connected to the public internet where my friend Rainbow Dash is taking a nap. Then the voting tabulator is connected to the internet behind a firewall. But firewalls do not stop hackers. Now, the next step. The next step is the vote count reporting systems. These, just like the voter registration systems, are standard things we know how to secure. And again, like registration systems, we should follow industry standards and guidelines. I recycled this slide. I'm going green. Ooh. Remember OWASP, NIST, OpenSCAP, SAFE, and remember, encrypt data in transmission and while at rest. Now, humans. They have so many flaws. That's why I like cats better. And let's face it, all the security in the world can't stop Bob from clicking on a link he shouldn't. Yeah, really, Bob? Come on. You can do better than that. Spear phishing campaigns exist and have been successful against voting machine manufacturers. Using fake emails, they can direct users to fake websites that compromise their machines. Mr. Kelly, who is a registrar of voters at Orange County, California, said at the hearing, "How well are my election officials trained not to click on links they shouldn't? Chances are, not well enough. Sorry, Mr. Kelly." Now, social engineering. Election officials must be regularly trained on how not to be socially engineered. Regular training is very important, not just during the election season. Now, fix the humans. States should form election working groups with local, federal, and state officials, including the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, as well as the State Cyber Command. This knowledge should be shared across the entire state. So you're like, yeah, all these problems, all these solutions, what's the big fix? Well, we need to look at the election system as a very hackable security problem from the start. Security can't be something we just bolt on the end. The election system is one big hardware and software system. So we need to train our developers and engineers. Teach them secure coding from the start. Teach them how to hack and think like a hacker so that they can better code systems that are more difficult to compromise. Send them to Security conferences and hire hackers. They bring a different perspective. They think around, outside, and destroy the box. I hope I woke up any of you who were sleeping. There are security-minded individuals to whom everything is a secured puzzle, just waiting to be solved. It's right there. Also, don't be afraid to hire hackers without certifications. Kids right out of school, too. They will bring an excitement and desire to prove themselves beyond expectations. So what is the best system? Hand-marked paper ballots. I made this really big so you can take a picture. And if you're not taking a picture, you better memorize this, okay? Okay. And with risk-limiting audits. I'll give you guys a second to take a picture. Okay, everyone, I have a big announcement to make. Next year at DefCon, I will have, drumroll please, my own election system! And a quick shout out to One Dark One for making this amazing logo. My election system that I'm making myself will be called Secure Open Vote. And this awesome logo has the S as a lock, the circle as the O, and the check mark as a V. Secure Open Vote. Cool, right? So what will Secure Open Vote be? Well, Secure Open Vote is an open source voting system used with hand-marked paper ballots, because that's the safest type. My goal is to have a complete end-to-end system. I figure I have the smartest hacker friends. We could probably make a pretty awesome election system. I hope to have parts of it available at DefCon for the hackers to try to hack. Now, what are your questions?
That was absolutely awesome. We can take about 3 to 5 questions depending on, just make it, quick and keep it short and sweet so we can fit in more of you. Please keep your hands up until the mic gets to you so we can see where you are.
Put your hand up, and it would also help if you stood up while you were talking so I can actually see where you are and so they know who to give the mic to.
Okay, so if you have the mic, stand up.
Stand up, whoever has the mic. I hope no one stole it and is running off with it in their backpack.
Let's go.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for the presentation, Bia. My question is related to Romania because we have paper ballots here. But we also have a problem where people stand in line to vote, especially people who are outside of the country and have to vote in consulates and places like that. So they are considering introducing electronic voting, and obviously, I guess no one here would trust the government to implement something like that because they're likely to screw it up. So what would you tell the Romanian officials who are considering introducing electronic voting, which you have in the US for a long time? Thank you.
Paper ballots are amazing. I think they should stick with paper ballots. Please do not change to electronic voting machines. Those are super hard to secure. The elections can be tampered with. So please stay to paper ballots. And to solve that problem, I'm not sure if it is already, but if it isn't, then make it a national holiday. I think it should be everywhere. Yeah, and I don't know how many days they are allowed to vote. Do you know, Mom? Because you're Romanian. Do you know? Well, if you have like 3 days, maybe it could be more days than that, so people have more time to vote, more places to vote maybe, or a bigger space, a bigger precinct, a space to vote with more machines. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Let's go to the next one. Please stand up. Make yourselves show. Cool.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm really amazed that you are so young and you've done this. And the question that I have is that what is the most important advice that you can give to the young girls out there who want to start a career in cybersecurity or hacking?
I say just go for it. If you don't know where to start, there are a lot of resources on this amazing thing called the internet. And if it's a girl wanting to learn cybersecurity and hacking, a couple months ago, I just started Girls Who Hack on my t-shirt. It says, Girls Who Hack is, their motto is teaching girls the skills of hacking so that they can change the future. It gives free lessons on my website, girlswhohack.com, to any girl who wants to learn cybersecurity and hacking.
Thank you.
Awesome. Keep that in mind. Okay, 2 more questions. We have one in the back there. Oh, we have someone here, and then we'll come to you, promise.
Okay. Thank you very much for your talk.
Can you move the mic closer to your... Is it on?
Is it?
It's on.
Yeah,
It's on.
okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your talk. And I'm wondering if there are any regulations, because the voting system from the US looks like inherently insecure, and I'm very curious, because the voting is the basis of our democracy, and I would expect to have really strong regulations in this area.
Exactly. They actually don't really have any guidelines pretty much at all. So like I said, on 2 slides, guidelines exist. Let's use them. I hope the SAFE Act passes in Congress and it becomes a thing, because it sounds super awesome. If we all change to hand-marked paper ballots and have it be a national holiday with risk-limiting audits, I'm pretty sure we can secure it way better than it is now.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, one last question. I know we have someone there. Please give the gentleman a mic. Keep your hands up. Yes, yes. We can do it. Yes, that's teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Very interesting presentation. Congrats for that. And very interesting subject. Bianca, one very quick question. What is your IQ?
I've never taken a test, but I'm hoping it's really high. But your IQ isn't what your IQ is, it's about how you feel. Like, you could even be 70 years old and super smart, or 5 years old and super smart. It's about how you feel and what you think you know that really matters. Same with how young you feel. You can be 80 and still, like, doing the hula and whatnot.
Thank you so much, Bia. It was so awesome to have you here on stage with us, and I hope this is only the first time and definitely not the last. So thank you again.
Thank you.